So ideally you should be able to look at tasks and calendar together, and that is done by this small little button. You may not be able to see it. Let me just make this window like this. So this is the calendar, this is the scroll bar. Next to the scroll bar at the bottom you see this little button. When you click that button, it shows you tasks for that day. So now let's say I have to do this particular thing, send sales report. I can say, okay, I'm going to do this from 10 to 11. So now you are actually going to manage your time more visibly for yourself and for others. So what you should do is take tasks which take time and put them in calendar so that you can plan your time better. And of course this will be visible to others as busy, so they won't trouble you with appointment requests as well. Now assuming I did 1 hour of work but it didn't complete, the task is still not complete. So task will migrate to next day when the date changes. Still you mark it as complete. So it gives you best of both worlds. So with all this, a new way of handling mails in a more effective way is, first when you say I'm going to handle mail, look at, okay, put the tasks, manage the time correctly, then you will know how much time is left. Then go to inbox and handle by, you already know how to do it in a prioritized manner. And the last thing is, whatever you do to a mail, file it, delete it, whatever it is, don't keep it in inbox. So 3 simple things. Your mailbox will actually be empty, and you will manage time better, and you will respond better to more important mails. So whichever way you look at it, it's a win-win situation. Any questions? Otherwise we'll move to some other topic now.
It's really good.
Yes, please.
If you drag your email into your taskbar.
Yeah, just a minute. I think, is the aircon less? Is people, are you feeling a little hot?
Yeah.
Yeah, so something to do with aircon. Yeah, please go.
If you drag your email into your task
Yes.
box and create a task from it,
Yeah.
is there any way of getting rid of it in your inbox other than
Yes.
back and deleting it?
Yes, very good question. In fact, I forgot to mention it. Now onwards, you are going to delegate work by using task, not mail. But till others realize it, they are going to continue to send you work by email. Now, I told you, don't use email to keep track of your work. The simplest thing to do is mark this flag. Now out of 100 mails, if one was red in color, I can understand. If 100 red flags are there, the red flag loses its red flagness. It has no meaning. And very often when you finish the work, we don't even know that you should go there and mark it as corrected. So suddenly if you sort it on red flag, there are so many of them, half of them may be actually finished, but we don't know. So it has no meaning. So a good idea is to convert a mail to a task. Even if the sender doesn't know, you can at least do it. How do you do that? Simple, drag a mail and drop it on task. It puts the content, puts the subject, just deadline you have to put. But there are 2 disadvantages of this. It retains the original mail, as she said, it retains this original mail here. And our idea is to declutter our inbox. That's one problem. Second is attachments don't come, only the body text comes. Obviously, if you are deleting that mail, you want the full mail to be preserved. So what do? Right, very nice. Another generic thing to learn about anything in Windows. When you drag drop, one action happens. That action cannot be changed. That's called the default action. Now, just because that action happens all the time doesn't mean there are other options not available. There could be other options also, but in drag drop there is no point in showing a menu. So if you write drag drop, it shows you that menu. Let me make it full screen. So what is the menu? It's very simple. It asks you, do you want to move or copy, and that too with or without attachment. So the choice you should actually choose is move with attachment. So what happens? This entire mail with attachments is added to the task. Put a deadline and it becomes your task, and the original mail is gone. So best of both worlds. Yes, sir.
But notify the sender once complete?
Yeah, now when it is a task and it is delegated the way I told you, when you mark it as complete, a notification is automatically sent to the original person. You don't have to additionally send a mail. In fact, even if you do 20% complete, there is a progress complete percentage text box also. So even if you don't mark it as complete, say in progress but 20% complete, even that notification goes automatically. Now let's say A has delegated to B, B has delegated to C, D, E. When E marks something, the entire chain is auto-updated. It's out of the box, no programming, just start using it. Alright, so let's move to the next topic now. Is this useful? Something you can go and start using straight away? Alright, so let's go to Excel. Question, if you have questions, no problem. I don't have a fixed set of things I must complete and then I get my salary, nothing of that sort. So whatever we cover, everyone must understand it fully. Alright, so let's go to Excel. Now what do we use Excel for? Many things. But if you really look at classifying, what we do is we first gather something, some information. Very often the way we gather it, it is bad. The formatting is not good. It's not usable format, so we have to clean it. Then we have to ask, is this the size of the overall information? Is it easy to look at and understand or not? If it is not, then you have to summarize and then use it. Now use it in what way? It could be analyze, plan, whatever it might be, some kind of decision making, compare, monitor. Those can be many things, but this is the real use of Excel. Agree? The rest of it is just the plumbing to arrive at the real use. But unfortunately, this takes 80%, this leaves you 20%. Or in some cases, it could be 99% and 1%. So that is where Excel doesn't deliver what it is supposed to do. So one nice way of looking at how we work, we said we work for 3 hours, 8 hours, whatever. If you really audit what we do, this is how it looks. You may be genuinely working for those 3 hours on office, but this is not productive. In Six Sigma terms, you can call it non-value adding. This is value adding. Obviously, nobody wants to do anything which is non-value adding, but you are forced to because you can't do this unless you have done this. So I'll give you one example, and that will explain how simple things can be done very well. One of the commonest problems is if you get reports from business systems and then you have to work on them to generate another report. It's a very common thing. None of the reports which come from direct business systems are directly usable somehow, irrespective of how much we spend on IT and customization and consulting. We'll not go into why that, because that is a separate one-day discussion, but that's the reality. By and large, from a business system point of view, whether it's homegrown, purchased, doesn't matter. From a developer point of view, the report is an end point, but from an end user point of view, that is the starting point of something else. And if the data is not in usable format, then you spend half the time cleaning it up. So this is one example of that. So this data has come from a system. So all the structured data is inside, but the way you get it is here. Most systems are designed for printing the report. They have an option called export to Excel, but reality what happens is that printout is dumped into Excel. More often than not. It is not designed for export to Excel in a manner that it is directly usable. That's the problem. So this is a printout which is shown in Excel, that's all. What we are really interested in is the tabular data we can analyze, do conditional formatting, summarize it, filter it, whatever. But there is a page header, there is a page footer, there will be some subtotals, grand totals. You have to get rid of all that, make everything tabular, only then you can start doing stuff. That's the problem. So this is a cleanup requirement. Now how to change the mindset of developers in the world, that's a separate issue. We can't do that, let's assume. I've been trying for 10 years, it has not happened, so unlikely. But this is cleanup, this is dirty work. This has to be done because unless you do that, you can't analyze anything. Now the issue is, can dirty work be done in a smarter way? And the answer is yes. The dirty work involves this. You see these gaps of empty rows? We have to get rid of those empty rows in the most efficient way. The process of doing it itself is bad, but still, even bad things can be done efficiently. So how most people would do it is they would select these rows, delete, again go down, select, delete. So 40 pages, 40 times. 100 pages 100 times. Someone will try to write a macro, but it doesn't work because first time there may be 10 rows, second time there may be 8 rows, all sorts of problems. Most macros recorded don't work unless you tweak them by programming, and 99% people don't know programming. So how do you want to do it? So the answer to that question comes from a feature of Excel which is there for forever. So that feature is called GoTo. Do you use it? GoTo? So what does GoTo do? On the face of it, it's a very dumb thing. You know, Excel is large, millions of rows, million rows and 16,000 columns. So to move from one place to another, you can't scroll. So if I want to go to, let's say G23,000 for whatever reason, I put the number and it takes me there. Okay? So as long as I give a reference, it will go there. I say go to G10, it will go to G10. If I give a range here, and that's the important thing, if I say A1 colon J20, it will actually select A1 to J20. But there is a button there which is even more useful. Most often we will not know the range name, so this has limited use. So what is this special? So even if you didn't know GoTo, now you know what it does. It goes and selects what you ask it to select. It's very dumb. It doesn't do anything after selection. It's up to you. So by itself, it is a neutral, harmless feature. So here is one best practice. Again, a method of learning to learn. Now, I said we don't press the F1 key frequent enough. Correct? What is there on the other side of F1? What is the next key? Not F2, on the other side. On the left side of F1, what is the key? Very nice. So this is very commonly used. Whenever you see buttons like more, options, special, advanced, we never click on them, and even if we do click on them by mistake, we want to run away from it as much as possible. So escape is always used, F1 is rarely used. So don't escape. This doesn't mean more complexity, it means more benefits. So from that point of view, when you go to paste special, you'll see, go to special, you'll see this. Now another important thing to learn. When you see so many things, you get confused, which is fine, it's natural. Why do we get confused? Because these are isolated items, just few words or phrases which have no link to each other apparently, because first time you're seeing it. Human mind understands better if we can have a complete sentence. But you will never see a complete sentence in any of the application software because there is no space to write complete sentences. But how do you create a sentence? We know this is some variation of GoTo. GoTo means what? Go and select what I am asking it to select. So now put a prefix, go and select comments, select constants, select blanks, select last cell. Now it makes sense? So now what we want it to do is, I want to get rid of blank rows. So let's try go to special blanks and see what it does. It selects all blank cells. Now if I say delete all the rows, then probably it will delete everything. That's not, it's an overkill. What I really want is, let's identify a column. I don't want these rows, correct? Do I want this row? Yes. Do I want this row? Yes. Do I want this row? No. Do I want these rows? No. So if I can select this row and this and like that go down and select this, what am I selecting? Only blank cells in a specific column. And then if I say delete these rows, I will get rid of the rows. But I don't want to do it manually. So I select this entire column. You choose the column carefully. You choose a column where in that column if there is an empty cell, you don't want the row. In that column there is a value, you want the row. Clear? So see, we have chosen this column. So this is automatically going to get rid of this. Now that you have selected the column, now we say go to special blanks. So what does it do? Selects only the blank row cells. Now you select, delete entire row. So all those cells which are selected now, not just those cells, the entire row will get deleted. So now we got clean data in few seconds. Simple. So here is another important thing you have to understand. Office may not give you direct results because every feature may not map to a business activity. So there are